The reason why Summoner is the strongest class is because there is no opponent in the same level. Other classes can't beat the monster, but he can beat it alone. Just because he is alone, he is comparable to an army of 10,000 people. The number alone is enough to crush the opponent. It's not difficult, even if it's a monthly challenge. Not long ago, the daughter who was serving suddenly ran away from home. As a male servant, he went out to look for her. But surprisingly, when he found her, the other party had already made up his mind. I didn't persuade him much, so I went back with him. And his decision is to fulfill the duty of a noble like his brother. In the future, he will go to the battlefield to share the burden for his family. The reason why he changed his mind is because he understood the importance of the noble duty in the letter sent by his brother. But he didn't know that the leader had already found a solution for this. As long as he gives the right to mine the secret silver mine to Wangjia, he can get rid of his obligation. The reason why he didn't use it on his eldest son before is because the secret silver mine can only be mined soon. He can only say that he doesn't eat it. But his daughter knows the value of the secret silver mine. This is their chance to turn over their father. So he refused his father's kindness. Everyone was very pleased with his daughter's sensible attitude. Only the master listened to his daughter. He didn't know what it meant to go to the battlefield. In his cognition, there was no war between the two countries. But he realized that the world was not peaceful. He felt more desperate to improve his strength. Unknowingly, the semi-human tribes around him had also been wiped out, so he needed to find a new devil to hunt. And this time, his goal was the Kaiyi tribe. The reason why he didn't do it was because every Kaiyi's nest had thousands of them, not to mention the queen of Kaiyi. And because it was a nest, he couldn't explore the whole thing from the air. There was only one exit. If he went in directly, he would accidentally overturn the car. Because there was too little information, he decided to use the summoning beast to test it. Unexpectedly, after Kaiyi was alarmed, he used a lot of blinking skills. It's normal to blink. Maybe it's tricky for this situation. But unfortunately, he is a summoner. The least afraid thing is this kind of group battle, and he just needs to hide far away and consume it. Next, it's just a matter of time. Let's see when he can wipe out Kaiyi. But he didn't expect it to be 2 months. During this time, he killed a total of 5,000 Kaiyi. Finally, Kaiyi didn't come out of the cave. Next, only the queen was left. In case of emergency, he sent a cat-head eagle that could see to help him find the queen's location. Although this hype is as complicated as a maze, but it's not a problem for him who can share his vision. Although most of the Kaiyi were solved, there are still some scattered in the cave. But these are not a big problem. Soon, he found the Fuluan city. Obviously, this is the source of the large number of Kaiyi, and this wait is 1 day. When he found the queen's location, he immediately set out. Take the main force to hunt, although the queen is B level, but her strength is only the lowest of the B level. The most tricky part of her is her ability to kill. She has the protection of 1,000 troops, but after 2 months of hard work, now she is almost the commander of Guanggan. So it didn't take much time. The queen was killed by a group of workers because he didn't go home for a few times during the period, for a long time of night stay. He must come up with a reason, so he used the queen's armor. I thought the leader would be very happy, but the reaction was extremely cold. It turns out that they don't know what the Queen of Kaiyi looks like. Let's not talk about the thousands of soldiers in the cave. The key is that there is nothing different in the cave and the maze. Fortunately, he still has evidence. He also found the maze nearby, and that's why everyone was moved. Because the maze is not something that can be seen everywhere. And compared to the Queen of Kaiyi, they care more about the location of the maze, because that means they've found a new mine. Once the news is true, according to the rules, the leader will have 30% of the right to mine. Don't look at only 30%. But it's not as simple as a night of revenge, and it's been half a year. The leader is just 12 years old. The leader's maze can finally be mined. As for the mine he found, he has to wait for next year, although there is no need to worry about money in the future. But for him, the most important thing is to restore personal freedom when he was going to find a chance to resign. Unexpectedly, the envoy of the Wang family came to the door again, and there was also the next door leader. They brought a contract. Each contract is due to 2 secret mines. The right to mine is exchanged every 100 years. The economic situation is very unstable, so in order to solve this matter, he plans to let the 2 leaders manage the secret mines together. It sounds good, but it's completely strong. This year, it's finally their turn. He said he wanted to equalize. He said there was nothing wrong with it. The leaders of several parties naturally refused. For this news, he needs to go to the capital to confirm. And this also made the envoy of the Wang family angry. He didn't expect a man to dare to question him. But after all, there is a ghost in his heart. He left in a hurry. It's a pity that the man had already thought about resigning. But at this point, he didn't want to hit the gun. Coincidentally, the envoy of the Wang family just left. The room of Tianjin shouted. When the man rushed over, he found 3 people breaking into his room. The man didn't hesitate and shot. But he didn't expect that the other party was not an ordinary person. He couldn't take it for a while. Besides, the other party has 3 people. Just when the man was trying to figure out a way, the 3 people knew that this place should not stay for a long time. Before leaving, he threw a hypnosis bomb. He was completely hit by the man. When he woke up again, he found that he and Tianjin had been taken away. In order not to alert, he secretly summoned parrots to observe. Only after listening to their conversation did he know. The reason why he was also caught, it's because he took a fancy to his combat ability. He planned to take it to the slave market for a good price. But their act of kindness, but it made the boss angry. Don't let them take advantage of the situation. If the man will give a hint, then kill him. After he left, the 3 people only dared to whisper. It turns out that their boss is the one who survived from the battlefield. They dare not provoke. The other party is mainly responsible for this time. Prevent the Knight Commander from coming to kill. The 2 people who stayed on the battlefield at the same time. They are very curious about who is strong and who is weak, although they know that the Knight Commander will come to rescue. But the boss didn't want to sit and wait. While the 3 people didn't pay attention, he secretly let the summoning beast come to the door. See where it is. Confirm the escape route with this. But what he didn't expect, he found out when he saw the scenery outside the window. He was actually on the so-called magic boat. This is where some big people can come up. But the question is, how did he get down from the air? After looking around here, he suddenly heard a familiar laugh. Unexpectedly, it's the Lord next door and the king's envoy. Obviously, the real murderer this time. It's them too. The purpose is to get the right to open the silver and treat the princess as a hostage. The boss was going to wait for the ship to land, then escape. The result was at this time, the princess woke up because he struggled too much. One person in the eye was going to make him suffer. He had no choice but to do it. He didn't plan to face Yingang, but he chose the butterfly from the summoning beast. After all, he has seen the strength of the 3 people. Now he can hypnotize one by one. But then again, this is also the first time he has shown the existence of the summoning beast in front of humans. But he knew he couldn't stay. The man didn't expect it anyway. His summoning is the strongest 8-star profession, but when he really fights, he can't even block a single blow. Obviously, there is a gap of 1 star between the professions. It's like a red hook, but it's his turn to be beaten. And the reason for the gap is that he chose the difficulty of hell at the beginning. The experience gained by beating monsters is only 1% of that of ordinary people. So it's completely suppressed by the level. He is in the tens of levels. Take the lead and fight in hundreds of levels. But because he was involved in the kidnapping of the princess, he can only stand by. At first, he thought that the kidnappers were just ordinary people. For this kind of opponent, he relies on the power of the summoning beast and the attribute bonus that the summoning beast brings him. Even if it's a monthly challenge, it's not difficult. But the problem is, he underestimated the origin of these kidnappers. The boss in it actually has a profession. It looks like just a 1-star red hook, but the man can't even see the action. Speaking of which, this is what he really means. Fight with someone with a profession. Before, it was either just some kids, or it's a practice battle without power. But I didn't expect, when it's a real battle, The gap is so big. Use the treatment of the summoning beast to save your life. But fortunately for this, he prepared the backhand in advance. But he also knows. This is for the white cat. It can't be delayed for long. So he summoned a few defensive knights, blocked at the door. Although it takes some time to get to the island. But now he can't wait for the height of about 100 meters. If he puts the summoning beast's bonus on endurance, it's not that you can't carry it on. Fortunately, he made a bet, although fractured, but not to die. There is healing grass. This injury can be recovered in an instant. But this shocked the lady. She never knew the man had this ability. But she also knows. Now is not the time to ask, because the island ship is about to land. It won't take long to catch up. The next step is still to fight for points and run away. The man summoned a few cats at the first time. Should be a thread in the sky, as expected. After the white cat got off the ship, the first thing is to chase them. But I didn't expect the other party. It's like knowing where they are. The direction is very accurate, and this is very likely to be the skill. Through testing, he found. This seems to be a type of tracking footprint. So next, he deliberately erased the footprints, jumped to the roof to escape. Although this kind of little trick will be found soon, but at least it can delay him for a long time. He left a lot of confusing footprints in the city, but the real purpose is to escape to the outside of the city, in order to erase the footprints. He spent a lot of effort. By the way, he also put the summoning beast's bonus on speed, but his magic power is not infinite after all. Until a long distance from the city, he chose to rest. After all, he knows that the next is a long-term battle. This place is still very far from their territory. Also have to ensure sufficient physical strength. And no accident. The next day, after sharing the vision with the summoning beast, he found. The white cat already knew that he had escaped to the outside of the city, although it is impossible to identify his direction through footprints. But he took the stupidest way. He moved in the shape of a circle. Fast is willful. It's no different from the male lead straight running. If you don't erase the footprints, it will only be found faster. And this escape is a whole 4 days. But just as the male lead is about to reach the territory, I didn't expect him to meet an old acquaintance. It was the one who was blinded by him at that time, the B-level demon. Obviously, he has been holding a grudge in his heart all these years, so he can only solve it first. Compared to last time, his strength has become much stronger. The B-level that was killed is no longer 1 or 2, so I'm not afraid at all. I thought it wouldn't take long to solve. But what surprised him was the so-called B-level demon. In fact, it is also divided into high and low, and the gap is quite large. Commonly speaking, the other party is the top of the B-level. His summoning beasts can't even stop the B-level. Also, because of this carelessness, the male lead was caught. Fortunately, at the critical moment, he has put the summoning beast's bonus all on the endurance, so it's not as if the B-level is destroyed, and the other party doesn't just grab it. Don't use force. At the same time, he is also crazy about medicine, and the other party can't kill him no matter how he pinched him. So, I'm going to eat him. But I don't know. That's what he's waiting for. He's gonna fight back. Summoning beast bonus, all on the attack. And then attack his eyes. He found out before, the eyes are the other party's weakness. The effect of this blow, full attack, plus aiming weakness. This blow took the other party's life, and the experience he got, it's also a few times the average B level. The good news is that it's been 3 years. Finally avenged. But the bad news is, because it took a long time, white hair has caught up with them. Now he's in a state of complete ignorance. It's hard to do, even if you want to struggle to death. What's more, even if you use force, he's still not a white-haired opponent. You can't beat him. You can't run away. Just when he was in a desperate situation, at a critical moment, the Knight Commander rushed over. Of course, that's not a coincidence, but he had sent birds in advance. Go to the ground for help. That's why the Knight Commander came in such a hurry. Speaking of which, he actually had a one-sided relationship with Whitehair. 2 people who lived on the battlefield together. But the difference is that Whitehair only stayed for a year, and the Knight Commander stayed for 10 years. It doesn't sound like much of a difference, but when Whitehair used all his strength to attack, but he found that even the Knight Commander's defense couldn't be broken. Obviously, the second type swordsman is best known for attacking. But what the hell is this defense? But this question comes and goes quickly. That's because the Knight Commander's level is too high. The defense is already like this. The attack doesn't even need to be said. That's right, Whitehair was killed in one blow. Take the knife and end it. The Knight Commander has been very calm from start to finish, and there's no suspense about what happens next. After returning to the territory, the Master will reveal everything he knows. The mastermind who kidnapped the princess. It's the next-door lord and the king's envoy. But because there's not enough evidence, the next-door lord may be severely punished, but it won't harm the king's envoy. So the Master took the initiative to propose to give it to the king. 30% of the money was given to the king. That's why it's so important. And investigate this matter. To put it bluntly, it's a bribe. Dealing with villains is like a tooth for a tooth. The reason why the Master took the initiative to sacrifice. He was also afraid that he would be retaliated for not handling it well. He was fine, but he was afraid of implicating his family. The Lord naturally had no reason to refuse, but he wouldn't take advantage of it for nothing. He gave all his wealth. 600 gold coins were given to the Lord, and the mastermind was punished afterwards. The next-door Lord took the initiative to give birth to a son. During this time, the Lord also learned what the so-called battlefield was. It turns out that there are actually demons in this world. At the beginning of the game, it was mentioned that this is a 5-star talent. I won't talk about his strength. He has the ability to command all the demons in the world, and he can make all the demons' strength increase by 1 level. The demon army he owns is made up of millions of B-level demons. So in order to prevent his invasion, the so-called noble duty has been established between the countries. In this world, those who are tested to be talented, they will be sent to the school at the age of 12 to train for 3 years. When they graduate at the age of 15, they will be sent to the battlefield. Generally, 50% of people will die in battle. It is worth mentioning that this world also exists forever. If it weren't for him, the world would have been ruled by the Demon King. Now, at the age of 22, he is still fighting on the front line. But even so, Tianping is still on the side of the Demon King. After feeling the crisis, the mastermind also took the initiative to resign from the Lord, so he has more time to practice. The other party is not surprised. He knows that the mastermind is not a heavyweight. But there is a requirement. That is to hope that he has the ability to protect his daughter on the battlefield. It turns out that he also wanted to use the secret silver mine to exempt his daughter's obligation. But because the 2-star Demon Master's talent is rare, after all, he has seen his daughter since childhood, and he can also feel that he will eventually face the Demon King in the future. The reason why the God of Creation gave him the experiment of the 8-star Summoner. It is very likely to save this. Even if the hero appears, he can't beat the Demon King. So this is just a piece of cake. The above is all the content of the Hell mode. Next, let's analyze the content of this episode. The biggest feeling after watching this episode is, you think the protagonist is hanging out. In fact, he is working. And it's still 24 hours a day. I don't go home at night. I have to make excuses to fool the boss. That kind of hard-working worker. The protagonists in the next world are all going out to pick up the gods. This one is good. The opening chose the difficulty of hell. You can spend 2 months to brush an ant hole. 5,000 ants are hard to grind for him. You say he is strong. He is really strong. 8-star Summoner. 1 person is an army of 10,000 people. You say he is miserable. He is really miserable. Tens of episodes of hard steel. Hundreds of episodes of scolding. I was almost killed. The highlights of this episode are actually 2 words. Pull. First, pull with the kidnapper. Stop the plan of waiting for the ship to land and then run. It's like putting the caution of the worker into the DNA. As a result, the daughter woke up and broke the bow directly. I had to do it in advance. Then pull with the B-level devil. I thought this time I could avenge that year. As a result, I didn't expect that I was blinded by the male master again. I think it's the opposite of the strength of the Knight Commander. A second ago, the white cat was still pretending to be a master. The next second was killed by a knife. Is this your uncle or your uncle's classic reenactment? As for the details, I found that the male master really understood the profession of summoner. Not the front hard steel, but the information war, the consumption war, the delay war, 3 swords. Open a queen and use the cat's head eagle to explore the way. There are confusing footprints on the way to escape. When you meet the chaser, you rely on the summoner. But the thing that makes me want to make fun of is that he is so smart. Why did he make a mistake on the reason? Take a queen armor and go back to hand it over. The leader doesn't know it all. In the end, he has to prove his innocence by picking up the silver mine. This tells us a truth. The boss doesn't understand your KPI. You have to learn to pack yourself. Of course, what touched me the most in this episode is actually the seemingly easy ending. The male master finally resigned. But the reason for resigning is not to lie flat, but to practice, to become stronger, to face the demon that even the brave can't beat. You see, this is the real meaning of the hell mode. It's not that you chose the most difficult opening, but that the world itself didn't leave you a way out. The battlefield of 50% death rate, millions of B-level demons, even the brave 22-year-olds are dying on the front line. You just kept your promise to protect your daughter, and then turn around and continue to upgrade. So in the end, the most impressive part of this episode is not those exciting scenes, but the cruelest setting that forced out the most real reason. In this world, there is nothing born to be the strongest. It's just that you stayed longer than others, ran a marathon for 4 more days, carried a few more times, and almost died. The real wushuang is never the peak of the opening, but you clearly know that you only have 1% experience gain rate, but you are still willing to bet everything to become the one who can change the ending.